Let me ask you a question right now, this very second. What's holding you back? What's the one belief, the one fear, the one excuse that you've carried like a shadow through every challenge, every dream, every sleepless night? Because here's the truth. You're not waiting for a breakthrough. You're sitting on it. The fastest way to achieve your breakthrough isn't through more books, more podcasts, or more waiting for someone to come save you. It's by getting radically honest, emotionally raw, and taking massive, committed action starting now. Your breakthrough isn't out there, it's in you. It's always been in you, but you've buried it under stories. Stories about why you're not ready, why now's not the time, why you're too young, too old, too tired, too broken. Let me be real with you. Your mind is a powerful machine, but if you let it run on autopilot, it'll drive you straight into the walls of your limitations. The fastest way to break through is to disrupt the pattern. Emotion is created by motion. When you change your state, you change your story, and when you change your story, you change your life. Think about a time when you were unstoppable. When you felt alive, what was different? Did you have more time, more knowledge? No. You were in state. You were fully engaged. You weren't overthinking. You were acting. That's the key. Breakthroughs don't come from thinking harder. They come from deciding, from burning the boats, from drawing a line in the sand and saying, that's it. I will no longer tolerate this version of myself. Because here's what no one tells you. Change happens in a moment. One moment, one decision, one no more. You've got to raise your standards, not just what you want, but what you demand of yourself. Stop negotiating with your limitations. Stop saying someday, and start saying today. When you want something bad enough, when your why becomes bigger than your fear, you'll find the how. You'll smash through the wall. You'll create the breakthrough. The fastest way to achieve that. 3 steps. 1. Shift your state immediately. Physiology first. You can't change your life from a low-energy, defeated place. Get up, breathe differently, move your body, clap your hands, shout your intentions, wake your nervous system up. It might sound silly, but it works. You cannot be depressed and powerful at the same time. Choose power. Train your nervous system to associate movement with momentum. Winners don't wait to feel good to act. They act their way into feeling good. 2. Get total clarity on what you want, not what you should want, not what other people expect of you. What do you want deep in your soul? And here's the secret. Clarity creates power. When you know what you want with absolute certainty, the universe starts to move. People show up, ideas flow, energy explodes, but if you're vague, you'll get vague results. Don't say, I want more money. Say, I'm going to earn $10,000. 0 a month doing what I love by the end of this year. Don't say, I want to be happier. Say, I commit to waking up with energy and purpose every single day, starting now. Own your vision, speak it, write it, obsess over it. Clarity turns intentions into outcomes. 3. Take massive, imperfect action. This is where 99% of people fall. They wait for perfect. They wait for permission. They wait until they feel ready. Let me tell you something. Ready is a lie. You will never be ready. You will only ever be willing. Action is how you earn your breakthrough. The faster you move, the quicker you fail. The sooner you learn, the closer you get. Speed is your ally. Progress is your fuel. Don't confuse movement with achievement. Yes, but don't sit on the sidelines waiting for the stars to align. You want results in your body, work out today. You want to start a business, launch something today. You want to fix your relationship, speak from the heart today, because motion beats meditation, action beats perfection, and momentum beats fear, every single time. Now let me ask you again, what's stopping you? Your breakthrough is not a distant event. It's not something that takes 10 years. It's a decision. One new standard, one committed action, one moment of courage, that's it. And when you cross that line, when you say no more to your excuses, when you say yes to your power, you won't just change your life. You'll explode it into something you never thought possible. People will wonder what happened to you. They'll ask what your secret is. But you'll know, it wasn't luck. It wasn't magic. It was you finally showing up as the person you were born to be. Breakthrough doesn't knock. It doesn't wait. It demands that you rise, that you leap, that you stop crawling and start soaring. So what are you going to do? Keep waiting for the perfect time, or are you going to create it right here? Right now, this is the moment you stop dreaming and start deciding. This is the moment you stop wishing and start moving. This is your moment. Take it. Breakthrough begins the moment you decide to no longer tolerate your current reality. Everything in life starts with a decision, a moment of absolute clarity where you say, no more. Not another day living small, not another hour blaming the world, not another second of repeating the same emotional patterns that have held you hostage. Tolerance is the silent killer of dreams. We don't change when we're mildly uncomfortable. We change when we hit an emotional threshold, when we can't stand being stuck in the same place anymore. The truth is, your current reality is something you've learned to live with, to cope with, to rationalize. You've normalized the very thing that's keeping you from the life you're meant to live. The breakthrough doesn't wait for the perfect opportunity, the right mentor, or the stars to align. It begins the instant you make a powerful internal shift and say, I refuse to live like this. Most people don't lack resources, they lack resourcefulness. They've been trained to adapt to mediocrity, to fit into boxes, to dim their light so they don't threaten the comfort of those around them. But deep inside, the soul is screaming. You feel it in your chest, that burning desire for more, that sense that you were made for something greater, that your life has a purpose beyond your current limitations. That whisper that gets louder every time you ignore it. The moment you decide to listen to that voice and silence the noise of excuses, the breakthrough begins. Not because circumstances change, but because you do. The shift is never external first, it's internal. It's the decision to stop identifying with your struggle. You are not your bank account. You are not your failures. You are not your trauma. And you are not your fears. When you stop using your past as the measuring stick for what's possible in your future, everything begins to open. That's when your breakthrough begins to breathe. But here's the kicker. Nothing changes until you change your standards. We get what we tolerate. If you tolerate anxiety, you'll live in it. If you tolerate broken relationships, you'll stay in them. If you tolerate being stuck, you'll convince yourself it's normal. People wait for motivation. They wait for the right moment, but the real shift comes when you create that moment. When you draw a line and say, this ends with me. When you stop blaming the economy, your parents, your past, and start owning your power, your ability to rewrite the story. That's the spark. That's the ignition point. That's when the fire starts to build. Because once you decide, truly decide, your mind, your body, your energy, your emotions begin to align with that new direction. The world starts bending to match your belief. People show up. Ideas flow. But none of it happens without that decision. You don't drift into a breakthrough. You don't stumble into a new life. You step into it with bold, fearless resolve. You claim it. The pain you've been running from becomes the fuel. The things that broke you become the bricks you use to build. The suffering that once weakened you now becomes your edge. But only if you stop tolerating it. Only if you refuse to live another day just surviving. People think the breakthrough is complicated, but it's simple. Brutal honesty is the doorway. Radical responsibility is the key. When you no longer tolerate your old story, when you refuse to stay small, when you declare who you truly are and what you're no longer willing to accept, life moves, energy shifts. That decision becomes the force that breaks the chain. You're not waiting on anyone. You're not missing anything. The power's been there all along, locked behind the door of your tolerance. Emotion is created by motion. Change your state, change your life. Every single emotion we feel, whether it's confidence, joy, anxiety, or fear, is tied directly to our physiology. The way we breathe, the way we stand, the way we move our body, all send signals to our brain about how we should feel in any given moment. Most people try to change their life by changing their thoughts, but they never touch the energy that lives in their body. They sit still, they slouch, they breathe shallow, and then wonder why they feel stuck, tired, or depressed. The truth is, motion comes first. You cannot think your way into power. You move your way into power. You shift the way your body operates, and instantly the mind follows. The state you live in moment to moment is the foundation for every decision, every action, and every result you get in life. When you wake up in the morning and you're dragging, your energy is low, your shoulders are down, your breathing is slow, what kind of choices do you make? Do you feel powerful? Do you feel inspired? Or do you find yourself going through the motions, avoiding the hard conversations, scrolling for hours, procrastinating on the things that matter? Now imagine a different morning. You jump up, you stretch, you breathe deep into your lungs, you move your body with purpose. You speak your intentions out loud, your posture rises, your eyes lock onto the day with intensity. It's the same day, the same responsibilities, but a completely different outcome because you entered a completely different state. The fastest way to shift your life is to interrupt the pattern. Most people don't realize they're addicted to low energy, addicted to negative emotions, not because they enjoy them, but because they've practiced them. Every day, without knowing, they've rehearsed stress. They've practiced overwhelm. They've repeated sadness so often it feels familiar and safe. But just like a habit, state can be reconditioned. You can train yourself to live in a high energy, peak performance state by changing your physical patterns, jumping, shouting, dancing, clapping, deep breathing. These aren't silly actions. They are tools of transformation. The body is the fastest lever to pull when the mind is stuck. If you want to feel confident, act confident, stand tall, speak with certainty, move with intention. Confidence doesn't come before action, it is the result of action. Emotion is motion. The more energy you generate through motion, the more intense and lasting the emotional experience becomes. That's why winners have rituals. That's why peak performers have routines that activate their power. Because state is not something they leave to chance. They prime it. They command it. They step into it deliberately. You can feel unstoppable on demand if you train for it. You can flip fear into courage if you move differently. You can dissolve self-doubt by changing the way you breathe and the way you carry yourself. Your environment responds to your energy. People sense your presence before you even speak, and your presence is a direct reflection of your state. If you enter a room with low energy, people feel that. But when you enter with certainty, with purpose, with vitality, everything shifts. Opportunities open. Relationships deepen. Doors appear that were previously invisible. And all of it begins not with a thought, but with a shift in motion, because the body leads and the mind follows. You cannot shrink physically and expect to think expansively. You cannot slouch and expect to lead. You cannot breathe like a victim and speak like a leader. You must train your body to embody the emotions you want to live in. That's how you take back control. That's how you design your emotional reality. That's how you create breakthroughs, not through waiting, but through moving, not through more thinking, but through commanding your state with power and consistency. Clarity is power. Vague goals produce vague results. Most people walk through life with a blurry vision, a foggy sense of what they want, and then they wonder why they feel lost or frustrated. You can't hit a target you can't see. You can't build a future you haven't clearly defined. Without clarity, you drift. You chase distractions. You settle for whatever shows up instead of creating what you truly desire. But when you get crystal clear on what you want, why you want it, and what you're willing to do to achieve it, you create momentum, you create direction, you create certainty in a world that's full of noise and confusion. The moment you define the outcome with precision, your mind starts to focus, your body starts to align, and your life starts to move forward. Clarity is not just about knowing what you want. It's about knowing who you need to become to achieve it. It's about having the courage to look at your life and say, this is where I am, this is where I'm going, and this is what must change. It's not a one-time decision, it's a daily discipline. The clearer your goals, the more powerful your decisions become. Every choice, every habit, every relationship either moves you closer to that clear outcome or pulls you further away. When you have clarity, you stop negotiating with distractions. You stop entertaining things that don't serve your mission. You learn to say no to the noise so you can say yes to your future vague goals like I want to be successful, I want to be rich, or I want to be happy have no power. They sound good, but they have no gravity. Your brain doesn't know what to do with them. But when you say, I want to earn $100,000 a year through my online business by December 31st, suddenly your mind has a target. It starts filtering opportunities, making connections, creating urgency. The universe responds to specificity. The world bends in the direction of someone who knows exactly what they want and refuses to settle for less. The clearer your vision, the stronger your magnet clarity also eliminates fear. Most fear is rooted in uncertainty in the unknown. When you don't know what's coming next, your brain activates survival mode. But when you have a clear plan, a defined purpose, and a roadmap of action, the fear begins to fade. You move with confidence, not because everything is guaranteed, but because you know exactly what you're moving toward. Clarity builds confidence, and confidence builds action. And action builds results when you're clear, your energy becomes focused. You don't waste time. You don't burn out from doing things that don't matter. You move with precision. You know what to say yes to, and more importantly, what to walk away from. Clarity simplifies your life. It filters your environment, it attracts the right people and repels the wrong ones. People feel that energy, they trust those who are clear. Leadership is born from clarity. Influence is powered by clarity. Vision is nothing without clarity. You don't stumble into an extraordinary life. You design it with intention. You shape it with focus. You build it with a clear and compelling future that pulls you forward even when things get tough. Clarity is the antidote to confusion. It's the foundation of transformation. It's the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. You don't need more time or talent. You need more clarity. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment. You need to get clear on what matters most and move like your life depends on it. Because it does. Every breakthrough starts with a moment of clarity. A moment where everything inside of you says, this is what I'm here for, and nothing will stop me from creating it. Action beats perfection. Progress only comes through motion. Perfection is a lie dressed as a virtue. It's the trap that keeps people frozen at the starting line, always planning, always polishing, but never launching. Most people aren't procrastinating because they're lazy. They're stuck because they're trying to be flawless before they begin. They're afraid to make a mistake, to be judged, to fail in public. But the truth is, failure is not the enemy and action is. The person who takes 10 imperfect steps is always ahead of the one still waiting for the perfect first step. You don't get clarity by sitting in thought. You get clarity by engaging with reality, by doing, adjusting, learning, doing again. The fastest way to figure it out is to step into the fire, not tiptoe around it. Progress is a reward for those who move. Momentum doesn't happen through meditation alone. It happens through messy, uncomfortable, courageous action. You don't need the perfect plan to begin. You need a spark. You need a bold decision that says, I'm going anyway. You need to get in the arena, get your hands dirty, test, fail, try again. Every master started as a beginner who refused to sit on the sidelines. Every business, brand, movement, idea that ever made an impact started with someone who didn't know exactly how, but knew exactly why. That's the difference between thinkers and doers. One waits, one builds. Waiting for perfection is a disguise for fear. It feels responsible, it feels strategic, but it's usually fear in costume, fear of looking foolish, fear of not being good enough, fear of not having it all figured out. But the only way to become great is to first be willing to be average. The only way to master something is to first be bad at it. The road to extraordinary always passes through ordinary. But most people never make it past the first mile because they're too focused on the potholes. They're too busy trying to impress instead of trying to grow. Taking action doesn't mean being reckless. It means being committed. It means understanding that done is better than perfect. That motion creates feedback, and feedback creates mastery. That failure isn't the opposite of success, it's the path to it. If you're waiting for everything to align before you act, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. The conditions will never be ideal. The timing will never feel perfect. But your willingness to start anyway is what separates the dreamers from the achievers. Action builds confidence. Every time you take a step, even a small one, you gather evidence that you are capable. You build internal proof that you can handle discomfort, that you can move forward even in uncertainty. That confidence compounds. You start to believe in your ability to figure things out, and that belief becomes the foundation for breakthroughs. But it only happens when you move. Thinking alone doesn't shift your identity. Action does. Identity is shaped by behavior. You don't become disciplined by reading about discipline. You become disciplined by choosing it in the moment. Again and again, you don't need more information. You don't need another strategy. You need to act on what you already know. Knowledge without action is just potential, and potential means nothing if it's not activated. There's nothing wrong with planning, but don't confuse preparation with progress. Don't spend your life preparing to live it. At some point you have to leap. You have to write the post, launch the product, record the video, apply for the job, make the offer. Not when it's perfect, when it's ready enough to take the next step. Because that step will teach you more than 100 days of thinking ever could. That step is what moves the needle. That step is what creates results. That step is what builds momentum, and momentum is the secret to everything you want.